My goodness, she's 3 years old today. That's fantastic. Oh man, I'm so excited. We're out on her birthday ride. Okay, welcome back everyone. We're here in the garage. I've got just a couple of quick updates I want to pass along. First off, I did get a little front bag for the CRF 300 LS. It looks pretty good. It's mounted right on the little crash bar. So we'll see how that works. I'm not going to take the CRF out today. Instead, I'm going to take the Himalayan out, mostly because I want to go on a really nice mid-afternoon Sunday ride down to Lake Mary and back, but also because I need to test out some new technology. So you're listening to me right now and watching me right now on a new GoPro 12 that I'm still fiddling with. I'm still working out the kinks on the settings. I've also put a new microphone in my helmet, so I'm going to see how that works out. Seeing what I can figure out with this new camera. It's very similar to the older camera I have, but it does have some boosted settings. And the good news is that I finally have a new computer too. So I've got a much faster MacBook Pro now that's got a lot more hard drive space. I can actually run Final Cut Pro on it as opposed to just iMovie. So I'm hoping that I can get into a little bit higher level of production now that I have more disk space and more processing power. But before we go out on the Himalayan, I want to open this box with all of you because this is pretty exciting. This should be my first printed copies of my book. I ordered a few author copies. Fantastic. No do not reproduce bar across the middle. And wow, it looks great. Super excited. I've seen that there have been several orders of the book, so for any of you watching that happen to order a book, I really do appreciate it. I thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the stories. And remember, I won't make any money off these books. I only have a 1% profit, and that's all going to charity. So no profit. This is all just because I wanted to tell my stories and hopefully inspire some of you to get out and do your own adventures. So with that, we're going to try and fire up the Himalayan and see how she does. All right, we are at 4K, high bit rate, 10-bit color, Superview, all the bells and whistles. I decided not to record in 5.3K just yet because that would require me using Final Cut Pro to actually get anything out of. And right now, not quite there yet. So we're going to see how this footage looks. And we're mostly just gonna try to enjoy the Himalayan today. Feels nice. I gotta say, I haven't been on the old Himi in a while. Definitely feels a lot less refined. Like everything is just a lot like clunkier. Oh man, I've forgotten like how much more power this bike has. But also how much less immediate acceleration it has. But that's okay. I'm not riding this bike for the incredibly awesome acceleration. I'm riding it because it's just a fun bike to ride. And it definitely has more power and is more highway capable than my CRF. I've forgotten what it feels like to sort of maneuver around such a heavy machine. It's definitely at least 100 pounds heavier, if not 150 pounds heavier than the CRF. So it's just so much more beefy to move around. Again, what I'm hoping to get out of today is I've been typically recording in standard bit rate at 4K, and so now I'm running at high bit rate and at 10-bit color, which is also supposed to make things more vibrant. So the biggest three things that I'd like to test today are the difference between 4K 60 and 4K 30 when it comes to like motorcycle vlogging. And then I'd also like to test the difference between standard and HDR. It's one of the new settings on the camera that's supposed to help in situations where there's a lot of like overly bright areas and things that get washed out and such. All right, we are up to 65 miles an hour, cruising along in 5th gear. For those of you that don't follow YouTube very closely, Royal Enfield is going to be announcing a 450 version of the Himalayan here very soon. I've seen some footage of it online. I've seen some other people riding it online. So it is coming very soon to the Indian market. As far as the States, it's probably going to be next year sometime. But that would certainly be a bike that I'd be interested in taking a look at for more of a mid-size adventure bike. So right now we are running Superview 60 frames per second and at 4K. So this is pretty standard setting. I usually use 30 frames per second just because I think it looks more natural. 60 frames looks a little bit artificial to me. So next up we've got the same exact settings. So right now we're at 4K, 60 frames per second, except I changed it to Hyperview, which is the ultra wide setting for this camera, which is going to probably look very warped, but I just wanted to see what it looks like. I do have the lens mod on order, the ultra wide lens mod. I did splurge for that since I have the GoPro subscription. It was only like $65 or something. So I am going to get some footage with that as well. I'm hoping that that gives like a really cool ultra wide view. But I've never been a super big fan of like the Hyperview just because I think it makes the sides look so fishbowl-y. But I at least wanted to capture some footage with this new camera to see what it looks like. So you are looking at Hyperview right now. Hyperview, riding down the highway. We're coming up on Lower Lake Mary, which I haven't been out here since it was really high. And I suspect with all of the karst topography and sinkholes, it's going to be mostly dried up. And yep, it looks pretty low right now. Very little water left in Lower Lake Mary here. Some of the trees are starting to change out here. Gorgeous. They've just repaved this road, so it's really smooth. Smooth like butter, my friends. Smooth. All right, we are now recording in 4K, high bitrate, 10-bit color, but 30 frames per second. So let's see what kind of what it looks like once we get up to speed. All right, 30 frames per second. How are we looking? Back to Superview. This is my standard GoPro setting. However, this is also now at high bitrate, so the files are much more dense, much bigger as well. So that was part of the reason I wanted a new computer, is so I could work with these bigger files now. So this is probably the setting I'm going to use most of the time, unless I determine that the 60 frames looks better. But usually I prefer the 30. Superview, high bit, 4K. And like I said, I do some recording in 5.3K, but honestly, it's just overkill. Like, you know, it's the files are going to be so enormous, and YouTube compresses it anyway. So it seems like it's just not worth it to unless I'm going to be watching these things on a massive big screen in my house, which I'm not. So 4K for now, for the foreseeable future. It's such a different power profile than the CRF. Like, it's just this kind of slow going, easy rider, you know? It's just hard to explain. But they're very different personalities between this and the CRF, and I really like that. I would not want to have two bikes that are essentially, you know, in the same category. It just seems silly to me. Well, thank you everyone for following along as we played around with some new technology today. I do have now the GoPro 12, in case you were wondering. This is the brand new 12, and that means that I now have my 10 as my secondary camera for front-facing footage, you know, or I guess back-facing footage, which is nice because they both use the same batteries. Everything's the same as far as the chips and the batteries and things, whereas my 8 used an entirely different set of batteries. So it's nice. I have two high-functioning cameras now for everything. And if you're wondering why I decided to spend the money and upgrade to a 12 when it's not that much of an improvement over the 10, I guess I would just say that I had a lot of problems with my 10. A lot of problems with it, like locking up, not recording correctly, shutting down, the microphone not working, and then most of all, and most importantly, it was always overheating, always. Didn't matter if I was riding with wind blowing on it, doesn't matter if I had it standing on a tripod, it was always overheating. I can't believe it's been 3 years. That just occurred to me. I can't believe it. I'm out riding my Himalayan right now on October 15th. I believe it's the 15th. And I think that this was the day, to the date, that I got my Himalayan 3 years ago. My goodness, she's 3 years old today. That's fantastic. Oh man, I'm so excited. We're out on her birthday ride. So I did set the camera one last time to 4K 30 but HDR. So hopefully we get some good footage here as well. We'll see what that looks like. All right, everyone. Well, thanks again for following along. I'm just going to do one last loop here around the neighborhood with the HDR setting on and enjoy this perfect temperature Sunday afternoon. So thanks again for allowing me to just ramble on and play with some technology. And hopefully some of this was useful. I have no idea how this is going to come out, if you're going to be able to even tell the difference in the videos. But for now, I'm going to turn here and head back into my house, and we will chat again another day. So thanks again. Take care out there. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.